feel good talk where our focus is on mind, body, soul, and business. You are now tuning into Let's Talk About It with your girl Izzy Meditates. We have your girl Kendra Moore, and we have your girl Colette Victor-White. We are all in the house today. Hi, ladies.
Hello.
It's so good to see you. This is a fun show because I get to hang out with all my girls. And today, our topic is going to be about sacrifices and success. But before we get on to that topic, I just want to know how you guys are doing this week. Anything new and on and popping?
Nope, I'm just been working out. Getting ready to travel to Virginia next week and see you. And just getting all my ducks in a row so that everything's okay here. And looking forward to safe travels and a good time in Virginia for a few days. A nice time away with my husband. So it'll be very nice. We're waiting.
Yes.
Yep.
I cannot
Right.
wait. I'm excited. I haven't seen you for a while. So this will be a good reunion. And how about you, Miss Kendra? Anything new going on?
I am jealous that I won't be here to hang out with you guys. Yeah, I'm actually headed to Orlando in the morning. My dad has to have a surgery. So we're going to drive down. David, Brownie, our dog. And I'm going to hit the road. And yeah, it's going to be road trip.
Nice. So, how's the dog do on road trips?
He's great. Like he sits in the car like a person. Yeah. He's easy. He doesn't cause any problems. He'll lay down and just lay down, sit up. So it's fun. It's fun traveling with him. He's just puts hair everywhere. So, so that's the only reason why he doesn't travel with me more often. But yeah, so even though we're going down there for that, I haven't seen my parents, I think it feels like in 2 years.
Yeah.
It feels like at least a year and a half. So I'm really looking forward to seeing them and my sister and my cousins and my aunt. So,
Nice.
Is this
how we do down south, a barbecue will break out at some point.
Yeah. Is this going to affect your move? Because are you moving this month or is it next month?
In July. Yeah. So
you're going to go and come back.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to go down for a week and come back up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, yeah. So you guys, good vibes and prayers are appreciated.
Yep, I'm going to say
yes,
one.
ma'am.
I appreciate it. Yeah. For sure. But he'll be good.
So we'll get on tonight's topic. And Kendra, you want to start us off?
Sure. Yeah. So, I thought tonight we should talk about success and sacrifice. Yeah. Because, I think we started this conversation maybe on another segment where we were talking about how people see the success from other people, but they don't realize everything that person had to go through to get there. And then I was also thinking about, all three of us ladies for sure, and I'm sure you guys out in the audience too, everyone has their goals that they want to accomplish and things they're working on, and we can't do everything. And so, I think sometimes it can be frustrating. What do you give up? How do you make it happen? And, so I just thought we'd talk about, success and sacrifice, because it seems like those two things have to go hand in hand together. And how do you manage it?
Yeah, you don't get one without the other. I mean, you just don't.
Yeah. So. And how do you manage it yourself? How do you manage it with your family? How do you manage it with your friends? Right. And so that's the topic. So Izzy, I don't know if you have, well, first of all, you guys let me know before we get into some of the high points we have. Let me know what you think about success and sacrifice.
Yeah. Well, I think they go hand in hand. And I think in different parts of my life, I looked at it differently.
Right.
Success for me when I was younger was getting my own house, getting my own car, working as many hours as possible, making as much money as I could, eating at the best restaurants, finding nice clothes. And that was in my 20s. And I was successful. I felt successful. And I think it started to change once I had children. Right. And I looked at things differently. And so from that point on, success for me basically when I had children was just taking a shower. That was success for me. Like being able to do that.
Right.
I was
Yeah.
successful in my day. So things had changed. I didn't look at, all of those materialistic kind of things. And I looked at just like the smaller things. And then when my children became school age and I wanted to get back into career, success to me was balancing everything. Like I felt successful if I was able to get my kids to school on time, not forget their lunch, in the process, or not drop them off at the wrong time, or forget to go to recitals that I've forgotten to go to at times. Like that was a thing for me. So it kind of changed. Yeah. How about you guys?
Well, for me, success, I agree with you. They definitely go hand in hand. And I wholeheartedly believe you cannot have one without the with sacrifice
Right.
and success. You cannot have one without the other. And, you're right about as you grow up, your successes change. Like when I was younger, mine was to have a successful career, to make a 6-figure income. But, those things, those were this was before children, right? Yeah. So, those were my successes when I was younger, to keep fit, to look good, to have, nice things. But then when children come along, it's like you said, Izzy, everything changes. I mean, you're responsible for this little baby. It doesn't come with a manual, right? Kendra, we've said that. It's just all learning. And now your success is changing because now you have to be a provider. You have to, you have to feed them, clothe them, bathe them, and you have to get through those successes. And you want to be a good parent, right?
Right.
Because we all know parenting doesn't come with a manual. And how many sacrifices do we make as parents? Like we sacrifice everything when we become a parent. It's amazing. Like you don't care. Like my shoes could start coming from Walmart because I wanted my baby to have this, or I wanted to maybe not work as many hours. Then my career took a backseat because family became my priority. So that career that I always wanted goal was moving in a different direction. It wasn't there. I wanted to be with my kids. Yeah. So you're right. Successes look different. And then when they're little, you're right. Just getting out of sweatpants and getting a shower, right?
Right. So, that was like my thing.
Right. And
I'd say Crocs, locks, and leggings. That's my new thing.
Exactly. So I think it's funny how we just don't even realize. We think that it's just like when we talk about health, how your health looked at 20 is not how your health looks at 50.
Right.
So it's always changing. It's always revolving. So, but there are a lot of sacrifices, which we're going to discuss tonight, that come with each success and milestone that we hit in our life.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, I agree with all of that. And then I was thinking too about, not only, speaking for the three of us, and I'm sure there's people out in the audience as well that are trying to work and then also maybe have like a side hustle, grow their business. And so, from that standpoint of trying to, elevate your own business, there's a lot of sacrifice comes with that, right? Because now it's like time and, priorities and things like that. I mean, honestly, like for me, it's funny because I'm like, I can legit cut off cable at this point. I have Netflix and by the end of my day, it's like around 9 o'clock before I am sitting down to like decompress. And at that point, I turn on the news for like 2 minutes. And by the time I watch all of the shootings, this and a fire, this and a hit, I'm like, no. And then I'll turn on Netflix. But, it's funny. And I've gone days without even turning on the TV, just with, music playing just because. But, those things as well. So, we have, Izzy, I think you printed out the paper, but we have this list of things I think will be good to talk through. And you guys that's listening, we want to hear you. I mean, that's listening and watching. We want to hear your thoughts too about success and sacrifice and, how do you experience it in your life? So make sure you guys comment and let us know. I see we have some comments before we get to the paper. Maybe we can bring up some comments that we have now.
We have Charles Brakely. He says, "Good evening, ladies." Hi,
Good
Charles. How are
evening,
you?
girls.
Travar Johnson is in the house. Hi, Travar. He says, "What's up, young buck?" Hi,
Hey,
Travar.
Travar, you need to put young bucks on. Colleen and I are young too.
Oh, I see. I see.
I'm starting to get jealous.
Oh, all right. Call you
Joy
young buck too.
says, "Safe travels, Miss Kendra." Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate you. Thank
Hi,
you.
Jamila. Naeem Love's in the house. Hello, Naeem. Hello. Hey,
What's up,
everyone. Good to
Naeem?
see you.
The love doctor.
Charles Brakely says, "Yes, successes look different as you grow and mature." That is very
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. Very
Jamila
true.
J. Choice says, "Success in 2020 was staying alive." I know that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Isn't that, but okay, we can go through the rest of the comments, but let's go back to that.
She says also staying healthy. That was
yeah.
like, yes. Jean
Yeah.
Kelly. Hi, Jean Kelly. Hello, beautiful ladies. I really enjoy your show. Awesome. Good to see you.
Thank you.
So she says, yes, success in
Yep.
2020 was staying alive. And I can definitely feel that in my bones because I didn't care about career or anything else at that point. It was just basically, and it wasn't so much of me, it was my children. I was so focused on keeping them healthy that I could not think about anything else besides that for a while.
And not just that, people lost their jobs. And so they had to really become creative as to how they could successfully bring money into their homes to keep their family afloat. I mean, it was scary.
Yeah. There's a new awakening in this. Like this is a huge awakening in this because a lot of people found their passion. And I remember just living in this small town here, you could hardly find a job. They were all taken up. Now in every window, there is help wanted because people are realizing, hey, I've managed to do what I do at home, whether it was selling carrots, bread, eggs, sewing something cute for, pocketbooks or whatever they found out their passion and now they're able to do it. And so, companies are looking for people to work.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's definitely a shortage.
Right. It also brought us back to family. It made us realize the importance of just being at home. Like the material things didn't matter. It wasn't about everything you wanted. It was just about what you needed. So I think that even though 2020 was tough for people, I really do think it was a good thing. And a lot of good things came out of it.
Yeah. No, I really
think. I was just going to say too, on the topic of sacrifice, right? So it was one of those things. And I think this is true in life in general, where it's like, you don't realize what you can really endure and sacrifice until you're forced to do so. Right. Because if anyone would have said like, hey, guess what? You're not going to be able to go to a restaurant for, you can't go to this restaurant for 6 months or 8 months. You'd be like, oh, what? There's no way I cannot do that. Movies and then all of a sudden we're like, oh, we can actually sacrifice a lot of things.
Yeah. And you can learn to cook the things that you miss from the restaurant. Like we just started to cook a lot of different dishes at home that we missed. And we actually got better at cooking. So it was a plus, right?
Yeah, I agree. Although at some point I got tired of cooking. I'm like, yo, we need to I know, right? Like I'm good with I love to cook. I really enjoy cooking, but I was like, you know what? If I cook breakfast one more time.
Yeah. You know what was hard for me? And this is crazy. And I think that Colette and I were talking at one point about like routines. I had a routine. It was basically the same thing. And I was set in that routine. It was drop my daughter off, get me a bagel, do whatever, go to work, do my job, get me a cup of ice. Like every day they knew I came through that one back kitchen, went to an industrial size ice machine, got ice. And then after work on my way home, I would go to 7-Eleven. They knew me by name. I get a cup of ice. Well, when COVID hit, I didn't do that because I was like, dude, I'm not going to get infected because I'm going to get some ice. You know what I mean? So that to me, and I know that's something silly, but that was a huge sacrifice. I was just like, I'm going to make my own ice. How about that? How about I'm saving $3 a day just because I like their specific ice when I found a way to like make it at home. But just like silly stuff like that we're just so used to doing, going to Starbucks, going, doing all these things. It had changed that. And my house became Starbucks and my house became 7-Eleven. And now I hardly ever go there at all. They don't see me, It just
Exactly.
Girl, I'm
changed.
stuck on you paying $3 for ice. That's where I'm stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really stuck
Like,
there
you pay
too.
$3 for ice? What?
It's
really
50
stuck there
cents a
too.
cup. I used to have like all these different cups, and I would just walk in there and they knew. They knew. It was just like,
Girl.
they got that special ice that was like square but thin on the inside.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. You guys don't.
Okay. All right. Well,
I
I'm
know, I
thinking
know.
one out there can relate. But
I
you know,
know.
the thing about routine, right? So routine, you know, it's interesting going back to how people got pushed out of their comfort zones. So routine is good from like an automatic standpoint. That's how our brains are wired to keep us safe.
Right.
You know, is that routine, but at the same time, that's the very thing that keeps us stagnant.
Right.
You know, and then
Right.
unless for some reason we have that motivation to break the routine, then we
Yeah.
just keep going. So going back
And
to
you're
that
right.
growth.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how stagnant I was until
Yeah.
everything was wiped away from me.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. And then I began to reach out and do things that I was fearful of doing this podcast. I'm like
Me
terrified to
too.
get on the camera. You know what I mean? Like all these little things had popped up. Yeah.
Right.
And
So
look
I'm
at
gonna
us
read.
now. We're so out of our
Oh,
comfort
go ahead.
zone.
Yeah, I know. But I'm used to it now. I'm just used to being out of my comfort zone. I got this little thing here. I fan myself before we go on, and we just make it.
You're good to go. So let's touch on some of these points from an
Yeah.
article that I.
So some of the points we're going to go over, and I want the audience to think about these questions. If you have time to grab a pencil and paper and maybe write it down. When you think about sacrifices and when you think about success, think about how did you struggle? That's one. And then what did you do or what did you decide to do to change as far as the struggle? And then the next one is what are you still struggling with right now? What are you struggling with when it comes to sacrifices and trying to succeed? And then what works for you right now at this moment, or what has worked for you in the past in trying to make these sacrifices and to be successful. So I struggled with the definition of it. I put that down. I struggled with looking at other people's paths for a long time in my youth, looking at saying, you know, because when you work in tech, it's cutthroat. You know what I mean? It's like you want a bonus, you got to do certain things, and you look at the other person making it there, and you're like, dang, they made that bonus this month. I didn't. So I went through a lot of that. And then I realized that time management was a huge thing for me. I struggle with time management.
Yep.
I struggle with looking at other people's journeys instead of focusing on mine. And then with the true definition of success. So that's where I was with that. What about you, Kendra?
Yeah. So what were the questions again?
Well, I'm gonna go through one by one. So the first one
Okay.
is how did you struggle with success and sacrifices in the beginning?
Yeah. So I think I mean for me, my biggest thing I think was time.
Yeah.
I think I didn't want to let go of anything. So I was trying to do everything and then getting worn out. So that sacrifice of time, I think, was the biggest thing for me to learn.
Yeah.
People, not so much. I mean, I don't have like, you know, I'm not one of those people that go out with a lot of people all the time and all that. So I don't have to necessarily worry about that. But and I can imagine like if you have a family, you know, like a husband or a partner or something like that, that could take away from that. But for me, my biggest thing was time. So I just learned to just let some things go. Like some things just aren't going to get done. The other thing is that I learned that I need to, one of the strategies that I'm working to implement is trying to do things quickly. You know, because otherwise I'll procrastinate. So I found that my procrastination was impacting, you know, my time management skills.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but I find if I like move on things quickly, then that time isn't as sacrificed as it, you know, otherwise would be. So that's how I'm managing through trying to, you know, achieve success. The other thing too is I'm a big believer in learning from other people. So I also try to stay, I listen to a lot of podcasts and just try to get a lot of guidance on how do you manage through things, especially if you're working to be an entrepreneur,
Right.
while living life, basically.
Yeah.
So I believe in getting wisdom and guidance from other people and seeing what works. And if it doesn't work for you, then go on to the next thing and see if that works. But
Yeah. I
That's
forgot
really
to add in sacrifices. I think the biggest thing that I sacrificed was myself and my health and wellness.
Right.
Because I didn't care if I didn't get sleep. I used to work like literally 12, 14-hour shifts.
Right.
And I ate whatever and I did whatever because it was all about being a boss and all about, you know what I mean? So I sacrificed that. Yeah. How about you, Colette?
Well, mine really is time also. I had a lot of because I'm married and I've been married for 24 years and I have a family. A lot of mine was taking time from my family, my husband, missing dates, missing events. Those things were very hard for me because like Kendra, I like to do it all. But when you're going to build a business or you want to be successful, you got to pick and choose because you have to sacrifice those things, because you're going to sacrifice now, but the end result is going to be something greater, right? It's going to be more successful or for your family. You'll have more time, hopefully, because you'll be building something. So the sacrifices are just part of it. And the other thing I struggle with is I came from a family of successful people. And it's hard for me because I compare a lot. Like, am I this? Am I that? Am I doing this right? Or I let people get in my head like, oh, you can't do that. You can't. But I've learned now as I'm getting older that I just take those negative thoughts and just try to work from those and work through them and build myself up more and have that belief, because I think the belief part is super important too. But the real struggle for me was time management too. And I have to believe a lot of people probably struggle with that. We all have the same 24 hours,
right?
But it's really how you use it. And I've seen like my husband is phenomenal with 24 hours. Like that guy can run circles around me. And I learned from him because he is really good with time management. And he's taught me so much about time management. And it's actually helped me a lot in my business. And like Kendra, I learned from other people. I watch them and I kind of a lot of times I duplicate because successful people duplicate because it works.
Exactly.
So, but the time part for me was hard, and the guilt, the mommy guilt, like, oh, I can't go to the pier tonight. I can't do this. I have a meeting. I have this. I have that. Those are the sacrifices we make, because, we're still blessed. We still, I feel like I still have better quality time with my family. And you have to keep reminding yourself of that. You're going towards a goal and there will be sacrifices to get to the goal. But once you get to the goal, hey, it's great.
Right.
It's like this saying that I love, which is, I do, well, how does it go? I now say I love it, but then I can't remember. I do what other people don't do now, so I can do what they can't do later.
Right.
So
think about it.
Yep. So that's the thing. And I think you have to adapt that mindset, because I know people will tell me like, oh, you're so busy. You do this and that, and you did, and it's like, well, one, I don't think about it. So I'm just in the motion. But the other thing is I'm not trying to, this is going to come out wrong, but I'm not trying to live a normal or status quo, life. So then there's things that I'm going to sacrifice that other people won't be willing to sacrifice. I know for me, some of those things are times that I spend with people that before I would have conversations with, but they weren't about business. They weren't about like ideation and stuff like that. They were just, not that there's anything wrong with it, but like, okay, let's talk about like what happened on Real Housewives and what happened on this and that, those, and I love those friends to death. But I'm not in contact with them like that anymore because my focus is different. So I'm sacrificing my time with them. The love is still there. And, they see what I'm trying to do. And thankfully, those types of friends really do care for me. So I don't get any, they tease me, but I don't get any like hate, about not being around as much or whatever. But
well, and you want those kind of people in your life. I mean, we've had this talk before too. You have to surround yourself with supportive people and like-minded people, because when you don't, I mean, it just makes it harder, because you will have sacrifices with your friendships, your relationships. It's just going to be part of what we're doing here.
Right.
And I think you got to communicate out too. If you have a goal that you're trying to reach, a lot of times we don't communicate that out to people. So then they don't understand when our behaviors change. Right. But if you say to, especially the people that are closest to you, your friends and family or whatever, like, this is what I'm trying to achieve. So that means I'm not going to have this much time, before. I'm not going to be able to do this like I did before. So I think the communication in that is really, really key, especially if you live in the same household.
Exactly.
And then they understand that. And then I think too, you got to make not necessarily a compromise. Well, I would say like a deal. Like, okay, I'm not going to be able to spend as much time with you, but every other Saturday we can go out for ice cream or something,
Exactly. Right.
So, yeah.
Well, I think that just gets into that time management again. You have to just manage your 24 hours the best you can, the wisest way. And so you make time for people, but it's not going to be the same time that it was before. It's going to be less time, and it's going to be impacted. But I think if you manage it well, and you still, keep communication open, like you're saying, Kendra, I think that makes it easier on people. They're not just sitting there going, what happened to her?
I know, right?
So do you have any time management? Does any tips or things that you do that's working for you?
Well, for me, I'm going to be honest, and I learned this also from my husband, is I now am a list maker, like a to-do list. So either the night before or first thing in the morning when I'm having my coffee, I make my to-do list, and I do all the really small stuff first so I can get to the bigger stuff. And most of the time I'm successful. I mean, sometimes there's bumps, like my in-laws need something or someone needs something. And that's okay, because some days you won't make your list. But that's helped me the most. And I stick with my list. It's just like my, our health routines. I don't miss my workouts. I don't do that. It's important to me mentally, physically, and I don't miss those. And that hour of time is mine. And no matter what, if I try to do it in the morning like you do, Kendra, but if I don't, then I do it before I go to bed.
Yeah.
So, and
that's important.
Yeah. And making lists have really, really helped me. Like, I used to make fun of my husband all the time, not another list. Oh my gosh. But I can understand it, because what happens is, as you start drawing the line through the list, you don't feel as overwhelmed with managing your time.
Right.
So, and I find that I'm actually learning to manage time better. I mean, it's all a process, right? It takes time to manage time. So
yeah, I know, right?
I'm gonna show these to you guys, because
I'm gonna say the list guru, Izzy.
This is a goal get, and these are like, you can go to TJ Maxx and get these. They are literally $3, $2.99, and they peel off. But I actually put holes. I put holes in mine, and they fit inside. But you make your list. So that's a goal getter one. And these are things that you can buy, like at TJ Maxx. This is great things happening. This breaks it down by weekday. Weekday on that side, and then you can put your list. So I have that one.
Nice.
And that, like I said, they're super cheap. And this is mom's to-do list. This one's a mom to-do list. But you can, or just use a regular piece of paper and to check it off. And I tell people, it makes you feel so good at the end of the day, even if you got 3 things done.
So Izzy, do you work from different lists then, or just one?
Oh boy, I work from.
No, I'm just, because you said you had a mom's one. So
those are
lists?
Those are my extra ones. I have 3 different lists that work together. So I go on Google and I color coordinate that list, because that pops up on my phone and reminds me. And then I have a physical piece of paper like that goes inside a binder, and I check that off as I go. Like, I literally need to have all 3. But then I have another binder that is all big goals. Like,
that's a good idea.
Huge goals that I need to, like when I began my company and I need to get an LLC, I needed to check off those things.
Okay.
So the one in the big goals list, I check that once a week,
Okay.
every other week.
Okay.
But the
That's a good
small
idea.
goals list, I check every day.
What
So
do you do,
when I sit,
Kendra?
yeah,
Yeah, I don't. So wait, do I have mine here? All right, so I'm gonna show
Sorry,
y'all.
Izzy, I didn't
So
mean to cut you
oh
off.
no, you're good.
I was so psyched because I brought this
Oh,
right.
I
Ooh,
remember.
My planner. All
Yeah.
right. So okay. So
love
you see
it.
how it's all empty? Yeah. So it's all empty.
So you're not planning.
So I started with words, and then and then I started with a list, and
Yeah.
then after that, it just kind of like got it. So
But that's
I
good
am
because
not good at that. Like in my mind, that's what I want to be. Like I want to be one of you guys where I'm like, okay, here's my thing, and here's my list, and I don't know what happens where I'm like gung ho, and then I just fall off. So
you give a good
but I
mental note.
want to do it. And then I have
Yeah.
another one. Wait, I have another one that I bought last year. Now, no, a couple of
Oh.
years ago. Actually, when I was doing my my body butter and going to events.
Yeah.
And so that I actually did use. Yeah, because I needed that organization, but I don't know why. So what I do though is I will have 3 things that I need to accomplish in my head. I don't write it
Okay.
down, but
Right.
I know, unless it's like a free day for me where I'm like, I'm just gonna chill. But otherwise, I'm like, okay, these 3 things that I need to get done. And I do that for my corporate job as
Okay.
well. Like I'm like, okay, these 3 things I need to get done today. At home, these 3 things I need to get done today. And then that's where my time is.
Yeah.
But I can, if any tips to help me stay focused with this will be great. And it
Yeah,
didn't help that I brought it I guess in July. What are we
it's
in?
good
bought
though
it in
because you can
March.
remember it in
You bought
your head.
You bought it.
I bought it in March.
When you're
Yeah,
going.
so I bought it in March and I was hyped.
That remembers.
Well,
Because I made a Facebook video about it. I was like,
you
"Woohoo,
did, and
that's
we
my
talked
planner."
about it. We talked
I'm
about
gonna
it.
do it.
Remember?
It's empty.
You need to
Kendra.
fill it.
Okay, so Kendra, this is what you can do.
Yes.
Whatever's best for you, whatever time of day is best for you. So I get up first, I get breakfast going because I have Cass and my son are here. So I got to get all that done, get everyone out the way so they're happy and they feel loved. And then I go on to my list. So I usually eat after them and I sit down, and while I'm eating, depending on the mood, if I feel like I need to eat and not do my work, then I take that time to enjoy my food. But then I sit and I check off the list and I say, oh, I'm supposed to do this, this, and this. And that kind of goes, that's how the day goes. But sometimes I feel like I need to do it before bed. So you just pick a time of day that you like to do it. But the good thing, Kendra, is that you have brain cells left and you're able to remember.
I do. Yeah. Yeah.
My brain cells are gone. If I don't write it down, I forget stuff. Like the other day, you guys were like, where you at? Where's the link to the meeting? I was like, oh, yeah. About that. I'm in the car.
I feel like night would be the best time for you because your day's so busy. So
Yeah.
if you kind of just put it next to your bed, nightstand table, and just kind of, instead of reading, kind of fill in, just even if you just start small and put a couple things down, it would get you in the habit. Because
and by instead of reading, you mean instead of looking at my phone for TikTok?
Yes,
that's what you really mean.
That's time management. And I want to tell you that
I'm just keeping it real.
I used to pick on Victor, but his list, like, it's made such a difference for me, you know, because I get overwhelmed because I'm just wired that way. And I like organization for myself because I feel like when I have everything written down, one, I see it when I accomplish it. So I feel that accomplishment, right? Two, it just makes me feel like I have so many more hours in my day for my family, my friends, you guys, exercise, whatever I want, because I know it's silly, but that list building helps.
Well, I am going to try it. And then here's the best part. So now I have to go get another notebook because apparently this one ends in like August. Are you kidding me?
That'll be good practice between now and August. So make a list of what you need to do for your move, maybe, and put that in there and those things.
Yep. I got it. So you guys in the audience, if y'all have any tips, please, or what do you do? Let us know, because
But Kendra, don't feel bad. Like literally, I've been doing lists since 9th grade. I was in Future Business Leaders of America in high
I
school.
remember that.
Yeah. And so that's how that began. And I literally I still have calendars from back then that I've been writing in. And that was how I kept up with all my classes and when I had practice and all that stuff. And then another thing I was going to say you can do, buy a book that doesn't have a month in it. You write your own month and day.
Yeah. That's true.
That might work.
Might want to check your comments, guys.
Yeah, I think we have comments. Let's see what we have here. Tamu's in the house. Tamu Garrett says, hello, ladies. Hi, Tamu.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi.
Good to see you. Charles Brakely says, you have to change your mindset and circle of people with like-minded people and people who help you grow. Stay uncomfortable to be great. Not saying you don't want to be with certain people, but you definitely have to limit your time.
We do.
I've lost a lot of friends that way because when I moved to Virginia, I didn't have my parents and I don't have any family here. So I was just like, dude, I'm not going to fail. I'm going to show my parents I'm responsible. I'm going to make my car note. I'm going to make my condo. I'm going to work 2 jobs and I'm going to go to college. And so my friends would be like, come on, let's hang out on Friday. I'm like, dude, I ain't got time. I have to do my homework. And so after asking me maybe 2 or 3 times, it was just like, all right, she's never going to hang out. And so now my heart breaks because I was so into chasing career that I lost out on really good friendships. But now that I'm older, I know how to manage that and say, hey, listen, most people who are friends with me understand that we probably will get together once or twice a month at the max. You know what I mean? And they're either okay with it or they're not. And the people who are okay with it are still in my circle. And the people who are not have shifted off somewhere else. Yeah.
Well, and I kind of feel like those people that kind of like went away from you or go away from us, those aren't really our friends anyways. Let's be honest. I mean, it's not that you lost really good friends. It's that those people weren't your really good friends, because friends are the people who stick with you through thick and thin. And they go through your stages and they understand that you have goals and that you're going to work towards them and that there will be sacrifices with it. And they're okay with that, right?
Right. You know? I have 2 road dogs. Christina and Colette are my road dogs. We could not speak for 3 months.
I was just
see each other on Facebook and be totally cool and talk like we just left off. And my other girlfriend, she just moved, like she literally is like a half an hour away from me. But when she moved, COVID happened, so we haven't seen each other. But that doesn't stop it. And she knows my schedule's insane. She knows her schedule's insane with her homeschooling. And we respect that about each other. And that helps us to grow stronger in our relationship. Yeah. And so those are the people,
maturity.
Right.
So those are the people you want in your life anyways. Those are the people you want, right?
Right.
So the other thing that I wanted to touch on is immediate desires. So this was the other thing that was in this article that Colette and I both came across. So there are so many things that each of us want right now, things that might encourage us to procrastinate when we really shouldn't. We might want to do something simple like check our Facebook feed, or something more significant like buy a new car. But the question is, what is most important? We have to make the choice between our immediate desires and the needs that will propel our dreams forward. So the immediate desire. So it's like a lighthearted one. David and I were literally talking about video games. Like, I love video games, like back in the day video games. Right. So we were having this conversation about video games, like the best ones. And of course, he's a gamer. So I was talking about, I love Galactica. Galactica is my jam. Like, I will challenge people on Galactica any day of the week. So that's my favorite game. So then we go to Big Lots to get snacks. As soon as we walk in, they had, and David and I were talking about getting an arcade game one day. They had a legit arcade, like a stand-up one, not as tall as the one I used to play, but like a good size. And I was like, oh my, like soon as we walked through the door. And so David was like, Mom, you're going to get it? And I'm like, no. He's like, but it's your favorite game. We were just talking about it. I'm like, I know, but we're moving and this. And he talked to me through the whole story about this thing. And finally I told him, I was like, you know what, David, sometimes it just sucks to be a mature adult.
does. It does, right?
It's
Oh,
true.
because I want that game so bad, but I'm like, we're moving, we buy a house, we got other expenses. I can't.
Right.
But I mean, it's a lighthearted thing, but I mean, you do have to make those choices when you have those goals.
Yeah.
You have to. Those are
Yeah.
sacrifices that we have to make.
No. Yeah, I
So,
think my immediate need right now, on a light note like you, is
Yeah.
tattoos. I love tattoos, but I know that once I go in there, they're not like a cheap little $20, $30, 43 thing that you can just
Right.
go in and get. They're $300, $400, depending on what you want. And so every time somebody comes up with a tattoo on Facebook, I'm like, dude, I gotta go get it.
Right.
So, and then I'll start walking myself through it like, I deserve it. I've been a
I know,
great mom.
right?
I've
Yes,
done
you
everything
can
I needed to
self-talk.
do. I never asked for anything. I never buy anything.
Right.
So I went through that for a while. Like, dude, no, you're not going to waste that money right now. You know, your son's about to go to college. You need that. Once we
Right.
get through that, then maybe. So that's my
Right.
immediate like thing that's
Desire,
pressing every time I see somebody with a tattoo. But I know that I can't do it right now.
Well, I did just get a tattoo.
I know. This is why I
But
saw
I'm
her.
gonna wait. It was not an immediate thing. I
Yeah.
planned it, okay, and I saved for it. I
Yeah.
saved birthday money. I saved, just Christmas money and stuff. And then
Yeah.
I asked Victor. He asked what I wanted for Mother's Day, and I said, well, if I put all this money that I have in, could I
Yeah.
get it for Mother's Day? And
Yeah.
so I planned for it. So you can plan for those things. The thing is as I get older, it's so crazy how you change. Like
Right.
you realize you just don't need all that stuff anymore. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Right.
Like
Right.
I couldn't tell you one thing that I would want to really buy for myself because I don't need anything.
Right. Right.
So I really, on that question, I really don't have an immediate desire of anything. I think what's changed for me is, and I don't know if this is from just maybe making sacrifices or just getting to that stage in life where you're just like, there's more important things. Like the one thing that I would really like to do is, and this has to do with my family, is I'd like to take a trip to Europe. And
Yeah.
that would be probably something like if Victor said, oh, let's do it, I would really want to do that. But
Right.
we would
Right.
have to plan for it and save for it,
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
it's
It
just
just
like,
becomes tempting when your friends show their
yes, when you
tattoos off
see
on
the pictures, I
Yep.
know, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then isn't just like you said, like we talk ourselves into stuff, and it doesn't
Yeah.
mean that it's not true, right? Because you are a
Right.
good mother, you do work hard, and so
Yeah.
everything you're telling yourself to talk you through it is
Yeah.
true.
It is
But
true.
then, at the same time, good for you because you're like, okay, but I can wait. But it's
Yeah.
so true. Like it only costs this much money, or it only does this.
Right. It was
Right.
even down to like, if I get it done now, it's perfect because we're wearing like short
Right.
sleeves and I can
Yeah.
show it off. It's just like really
Right.
deep.
Exactly. But we can't get one till we're with Kendra because we'll need to get
Oh
one
yeah, that's
together.
right. You're just gonna get
Yeah.
one.
I'm not
Kendra,
getting
did
one.
you pick yours?
Yeah, mine is an invisible tattoo. It's
No,
a
I
new
know,
thing.
right?
You guys don't know anything about that. It's
They
invisible.
have those. Jamila
have to-
Choice says grown folks decisions. Yes.
Yeah,
Izzy and I will get one and you'll get a henna. That's how it's
Yeah.
gonna be.
That'll
oh
work.
yeah, I'll do a henna all day. Yeah, I'll
All
do a
right.
henna thing. I mean, I'm moving to Florida, so I have to get
You
a henna
do.
thing. That's
Well, I was thinking
But-
though, like I remember this was a sacrifice Victor and I made when we decided that I was going to stop working because, we had 3 children, we had them in daycare and it was very expensive. And, we had a good income together, but
Yeah.
it was still expensive. And I wanted to be home with the kids. So we decided that I would give up my job, which was very, very stressful because we
Yeah.
gave up, half of our income.
Right.
And
Right.
I remember we made a plan. Again, it's about planning too. We decided we were getting ready to buy a house. So we decided to downsize the price of the house that we bought. So I
Yeah.
could be
Mhm.
home, right? So that
Right.
was
Yep.
the first step. And
Yep.
then I decided that I would do some kind of work at home. Then it wasn't Plexus, but I did a daycare. And it became a successful daycare. but I made plans to do that. And I gave things up before the daycare became successful. Like we cut our budget way down and we didn't buy unnecessary things. We bought things we needed. We didn't eat out as much. You know, we tweaked everything. So you know, getting back to the sacrifice thing, you've got to just be willing to sacrifice and make the changes that need to take place. You know?
Colette and I are from the same area. So Northern Virginia, when it comes to childcare, it is extremely expensive.
Very
It was
expensive.
$2,000 a month for me to put my kids in school. And basically, and I wanted them to go to a good school. So I spent, and I wanted to stay in my career. So I worked, paid for them to go to school. But I made a huge sacrifice in doing that because we were never home. I sacrificed a lot of time. I sacrificed a lot of money. And like Colette said, you had to sit down and say, hey, what are we going to do here? What's really more important? You know, commuting to Northern Virginia for 4 hours just so you can pay for them to go to school, or have them either go to public school or homeschool them. And that's a sacrifice that you have to make, like in this particular area, if you want. And sacrificing your career. Colette had a career. I had a career. And then you give that part up of yourself. And it's just like, you know, and then you have to remarket yourself when you get back into it. So like you can put that you stayed at home. I was a stay-at-home mom, you know, on your resume. You got to kind of keep that skill going. So that just goes off. That's another topic we should talk about.
And we have to have that topic. It's a good one because, you know, I will say that leaving my job was very scary.
Yeah.
But it was really the best thing for us and our family. And you know, when you're doing it, you're like, oh my gosh, I actually gave my leave, right, Izzy? I actually am not going to work in 2 weeks. That paycheck's not coming in. We're used to this standard of living. We got to lower our standards, you know? And not that we ever lived badly because we didn't. We were blessed. We had a good family. My husband had a good career, but it was scary. But at the same time, the scary things can end up being your best move. You know, those are the sacrifices, and just all that I've learned just from those sacrifices I've given, they've just fulfilled me so much as a person. I mean, really, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. Because how are you going to gain anything if you don't give up something?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You can only hold so much. So either you have to give up something to gain something new, or you just keep rolling with what you have, and that's, you know, that is what it is. And if that's the decision for you, then that's fine, because there's nothing wrong with that. But you know, if you're trying to achieve some things, you're going to have to give up some things to get it.
Because I grew up in my parents had a very successful business, and it was a travel business, and it was international. And so, you know, when I had a career, it was important to have a successful career. And it wasn't, when you leave that stuff behind, you realize that all the money isn't important. It's not those things that are important to reach your successes. So
Our next question that we had was, why did we decide to change? When you think about how you struggled and made all these different sacrifices in your earlier life, why did you decide to change? And what did you decide to change? Is the question. What did you decide to change? So I put down, I changed my thought process. I changed how I looked at success. And then I started to balance things out. So instead of looking at success as having this awesome career, I looked at success as being able to go to a school pageant. I looked at success as being able to be there for my kids when they needed me the most and that kind of thing. And then balancing out when I went back to work, because I kind of did the same thing you did, Colette. I decided to teach so that I could keep, you know, close to my kids. So, and balancing that out. So that's what I changed. And that kind of shifted me into a different career path. Yeah. Right. So what about you guys? What did you change, or what did you decide to change?
I changed my job.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, so I changed my job. So, you know, so like, you know, if anyone hasn't seen my post on Facebook, you can read it. I won't go through all the details here, but you know, the bottom line for me was that time again, you know, with David. because, watching him grow up, and he's, time, and it's true what they say, time passes quickly. And then the other thing is for my own health. You know what I mean? So going back to being stressed, not getting sleep, feeling just like, blah, mental stress, physically, it's just not good. And at some point you're like, you realize, Colette, like you said, as a single mom, I was doing really well. Well, I am still doing really well, but, in terms of like paycheck wise. And so it was like sacrificing that pay, but understanding that I was, what do you call it? Like I could sacrifice it. Like when you really think about what you need and what you want, you can cut back on things and just be fine. So I think that, trade-off between money and time, or even position and time, because my position that I have now in the corporate world is, on paper, a step back than, where I was in my other job.
Yeah.
But, it's just like, whatever.
But you're going to gain so much more. That's the
I already have. I'm already happier, healthier.
Family, being closer to family, because sometimes you make career changes and you're like, I don't have family close by. And I'm sure, Colette, you don't have family close by. And so that makes a big difference. So now that changes your entire life, to have your mom, your dad, and your family there, especially for David. You know what I mean? That's important. Our children need that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's the thing. Again, Izzy, like you said earlier, it's just doing as you're growing up and becoming mature and realizing the things that you really do value and what you can live without.
Exactly. Well, because there's things that, it's like we were talking about, when you get older, the material things, they kind of start to disappear because they're not important.
Right.
Whether you wear a pair of shoes from Walmart or a pair of shoes from a designer, who cares?
Right.
They're shoes. They have no value. So, I don't know how else to put it. For me, the changing point was when we lived in Virginia, and I was a stay-at-home mom for over 20 years, and I homeschooled the kids. And I decided I wanted to, build my Plexus business and focus on health again. And I found that I took a job at a dermatologist's office, and in Gainesville, actually. And it was one of my best decisions. I worked with a beautiful group of women. It wasn't about money. It was just about myself at this point. And not that my family didn't matter, but my kids were getting older. They're older now. So I wanted to have, I don't want to say I didn't have value in myself, but I wanted to have things for myself. So, for me at this point, it's just really about building my business and doing that for me and my family. So Victor can retire with ease. And so we can continue, because his salary will cut quite a bit when he retires, even though he'll have a nice retirement. We'll want to travel and do things. So again, my why is different. It's not really about becoming a millionaire, whatever person, right? It's not really, it's just about living vibrantly and having a great life, together.
And I want to say this as a mom and as a woman, to not look at like 6 figures as a success, but to look at following your passion. So if you sell Avon, if you sell Plexus, whatever that is, put your all into that, because it's not about just, doing this particular business. It's about the people that you meet. I have met so many awesome people through this, and I have helped people grow, and they have helped me grow. And so it's a different shift now. And these particular companies that allow moms, dads, or whoever it may be to work from home are providing an income and providing an opportunity that is just like any other company. The only difference is that you're doing it from home. You still have to talk to people. You still have to advertise if you're into entrepreneurship and things like that. And to never look down on yourself, and start small and just work your way up. And I think that's really important. You don't have to physically be in an office or be.
And COVID has prove that over
Yes.
and over. It has the same thing what you talked about, where they can't even fill jobs, service jobs.
Right.
People are finding a new way.
Right.
And I think if people really thought about it, they're going to feel more confident about themselves, because they're going to do it for themselves, and they're going to be creative about it and growing it. And that's just a good feeling. You know,
It is.
every time I get a message from someone, and you know how it feels, and they say, "Oh my God, I feel so great."
Right.
That right there, money couldn't buy that, because
Right.
the
That's what I was
feeling
gonna
is just
say. Yeah.
right. It's the passion that
And
knowing
just the
that
people you
you're
meet.
helping.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Before
So
we're gonna
on
go
this
to
topic,
commercial. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
oh, you want to? Okay, we're gonna
I was
hit
gonna say we're gonna
commercial,
go to
and
commercial
then we
when
can talk about the health.
yeah.
Okay.
We
The
can
next
talk about
question
health.
was, what are you struggling with? And then we'll go into the other question that you have, Kendra. So we'll
Okay.
go to commercial break. My favorite commercial. I hope so.
Oh no, I hope not.
The A game. The A game is energy. I love that commercial. It's just the dark background with
It
all the
is.
sparkles, and
I
it reminds me
know.
of jazz hands. I just want to do like
I know, right?
I love that. So if anyone's interested in the A game, there's samples available. Make sure you hook up with Mr. Charles Brakely. He has them available for you. And so getting back on topic, Kendra, let's start with, you said you had a statement you wanted to go with.
Well, I was just going to talk a little bit more about the sacrifices, but the last thing was health. So we can either, we touched on it a little bit on, so what she has here, the reality is when we're determined to achieve our goals, we might start to neglect our bodies and our minds. We start to eat less healthy, do less exercise, or maybe reduce it to none at all. We might even put our emotional and mental health at risk. So, you know, it's interesting because she has here, it may not be the most ideal thing to do, but those determined to be successful, excuse me, know that it's only a temporary solution.
Right.
I think that depends though on what your goal is, where you're trying to go. Because for us, I feel like we're obviously not neglecting our health, because we are about health, right? So I feel like, you know, not the physical health of it. You know, since we're in the health and wellness field, for her, I think, because she was a writer, right? She was writing articles all the time, and she was not sleeping at night and caring for her family and everything. So I think it depends what you're picking, you know.
Yeah, I don't agree. I don't
really agree with that.
I don't agree that people should sacrifice their health.
Yeah, I don't.
Like, I understand it happens because it happened to all of us at some point.
Right. Sure.
But I don't think it should be one of those like, okay, well, I'm sacrificing my health to meet this goal. So I'm, you know, it's something that I have to do, you know, because at the end of the day, if you don't have health, then, you know.
And I struggled with that when I read that on hers. I was like, I thought that was really odd, because to me, like I think you're going to say is that you can't let your health go ever. I mean, you just can't.
Yeah.
So,
I think that one point when I came here in 98, there was like how can I say it? Like a phase that everybody went through, neglecting your sleep, neglecting, like pushing and pushing and pushing. When I worked for this tech company, I realized that that's what I had to do. I had to stay up late if I wanted to get my numbers right, and I wanted to get all these things right. So what I did to bring in a lot of money is I worked 2 killer jobs. I worked for a tech company as a supervisor from 11 to 7 at night. And I literally would wash up in the bathroom at work to go work for the county from 8 to
I
4.
remember that. Yeah, you said
Oh,
that.
And I did
wow.
that, right? And that was
Wow,
my
that's
thing. Like, so
crazy.
I was getting 2 hours of sleep on the way to go home to change to
Wow.
kind of maneuver for these jobs. And I did this for almost a year and a half, but it was a culture. It was a thing to
Yeah,
do
that.
that
Right.
so that you
Yeah.
can keep up. I lived in Reston, Virginia. It is very expensive there.
Oh, I live
Gas
there too.
costs. Yeah, it costs a living. So what happened is no one ever told me that neglecting my health would cause me to have a panic attack. Never
Right.
had a
So you
panic
have that
attack in my life.
anxiety because you're so
Oh,
sleep
wow.
deprived.
Yeah, I
Right.
was so wired. I went into the lunch break room and I went to lay down, and my body was so tired, but my heart kept going and going and going. And my eyes just wouldn't close, and I couldn't breathe. And I ended up having to go to the hospital because
Wow.
my
Oh,
body
wow.
was like, yeah, no, you can't do this. And
Yeah.
Right.
so I didn't listen. I still kept going and going and going and going and doing it. And then eventually, when I became pregnant with Caleb, the doctor was like, okay, listen, you're not going to be able to do this. You're not going
Right.
to be able to go to school full time, work 2 jobs. It's not going to happen. So I had to end up giving up some of those things. And those bad decisions still affect my health now because I
Right.
have problems sleeping. I have insomnia. I can't sleep at night. I'm constantly
Right.
going, going, going. And I have to like really meditate or find ways to calm myself down because
Wow.
I did it for so long. But yeah, I don't agree with that. But it is a culture. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
it is.
companies, they don't say it, but the culture pushes it. Because how else are you going to make that goal? Or how else are you going to
Yep.
make that deadline if you don't stay up all night?
Yep.
The other person's
Yep.
going to get it. So you have to really, um, think about what's important for you as far as health. I mean, if you want to have a heart attack and fall out and have panic attacks, then go ahead.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I
I decided I didn't want to do that anymore.
think there is, like, for me, I think one place that and I'm catching up now, did neglect my health a little bit. And I just mean like checkups and things like that. Like when my dad was sick and I was caring for him, and then my son had a lot of addiction issues. And
Yeah.
now that would upset me. And I remember saying to my doctor, I haven't had, I need to have a mammogram. I need to do this and that. And I'm so nervous because I haven't had one for a long time. And he says, well, he said, you're very healthy. He said, and let me tell you, he said, in one day you can knock all that out and get all caught up.
Yeah.
So sometimes life does kind of take over. Maybe that's
Yeah.
what she's talking about. I don't know. So,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah. So we had another question, and we have 2 more actually before we finish up. What are you still struggling with now? As far as success and sacrifices, what are you struggling with now?
What about you, Kendra? I don't know. I have to think
I'm
about it.
trying to think. Well,
Yes, you're struggling with your time. Yes. Well, that's
yeah,
true.
but yeah, I think that is, I mean, in terms of mindset, my mindset is there. Like I think I'm pretty good now at, like, okay, I'm going to sacrifice this for this, or, making those trade-off decisions.
Right.
So I think that just comes through experience, maturity.
Exactly.
I've always been the person that will try something new.
Yeah.
So I don't have to be, as regiment, like I'm like, let me give this a try and see if it works type
Yeah,
of
exactly.
thing. So
Right.
I can't think of anything off the top of my mind that's really significant
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
that question.
I
I
still
think,
struggle with sleep.
yeah, with sleep.
Yeah, sleep is not, I'm like, okay, well, I can get this done. The kids are sleeping, and next thing you know, I'm up till 4 or 5 in the morning, or I'm chatting with friends, or you
Well,
know what
you
I
and I
mean?
chat really late at
Yeah, I
night.
know.
That's true. We are up at the
So
same time.
bad.
Yeah.
That's
That's true.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I try to like work on that sometimes, but it really is difficult for me. And like I said, once I flick that switch on in my 20s, I still have a problem doing it. And then I think like when I worked for another tech company when Cass was born,
Yeah.
I literally worked 11 o'clock to 7 in the morning again. So I I just cannot sleep at night. I want to do work at night. So that's difficult for
Right.
me. And then I think as far as like sacrificing, I think I'm good on that. I don't have any struggles with that. No, well, I do. The only struggle I have is I realize that I got to tell people no.
Yeah, that's hard.
Before I never
Me
could tell
too.
people no. And I would be at 50 million events and my schedule would be off the chain. And
Yeah.
now I tell people no. And I struggle with, after I say no, I have to zip my lips so I don't have to tell them and give them an explanation why. Because I always feel like I
Yeah.
need to explain myself all the
Right.
time.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that I struggle with that
Yeah.
and like walking away and just saying, no, I just can't make it. And
Right.
be
I
good
think
with
that
that.
would be one of my struggles too, because I'm always a people pleaser. So
Right.
I think the saying no part, or I can't, or we have to cancel, or those are kind of hard for me. I think I'm getting really better at the time management. That used to bother me a lot. And sometimes still I have like guilt, like when I miss, like when they're going like fishing or they're going to the beach and I'm staying behind because I'm
Right.
doing something. I'm still working on that mom guilt. Even though
Yeah.
everyone's an adult, I have
Mm.
to stop having that. I think
Yeah.
that is a real struggle for me personally.
Yeah.
So
It's because
yeah.
we feel like we have to do everything. I don't even know where did that come from? Like
Right.
who put that out there? You know, for a while, and I used to always, and I joke around now every now and again. I say boss, but there was one point where I was like, you know, I'm a boss babe, and to me, back then it was like that means I can handle anything. You call me up, we having a barbecue, I'm there. You need me to watch your kids, I'm there. You need me, you know, and I was doing
Right.
all these things, but now I'm like, dude, I'm not that. I don't want to be that because it's too
It's
time
draining.
consuming and draining.
It's
You can't
draining.
be there.
Yeah.
Even with my kids, I'm like, dude, I can't do that right now. You know,
Well, then when
mommy,
you overdo that for yourself, you can't even be there really 100% like you would
Right.
want to for
Right.
whatever you're trying to accomplish. You can't do
Yeah.
it.
So now that I'm older, setting those boundaries are like
yeah.
super important. And it kind of moves into our next question is what works for me? What works for you? Setting boundaries works for me all the way around. And I'm
Me
just like,
too.
okay, I just
That's
can't
good.
do this right now because if I do this for you right now, then I'm going to lose sleep tonight. And then I'm going to, you know, and
Exactly.
setting those boundaries, I set myself free and I feel
Right.
better, healthy, mentally, and
Right.
everything. So, yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like too, when you set the boundaries, like I have to say my husband's family struggles so much with me because I set so many boundaries, and I do it with my own family and
Right.
friends because, you know, boundaries are so important. People want to cross the line. They
Right.
want all of you. And I feel like boundaries are one of the most important things you can do for yourself. And
Right.
like you, Izzy, those really work for me when I set boundaries. So
Yeah.
I felt like I was very unhappy when I didn't have boundaries.
Yeah.
So, and it never dawned on me till later when I did like reading or self-help books and things like that, that I could actually set my own boundaries.
Right.
So, right?
Like Kendra said at one point we were talking, I forget what show it was on, and we're expected to do so much more than what our parents did back in the
Yeah.
day. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So if you don't set the boundaries, you're going to wear yourself out. Like, you know,
Oh,
my
it was
mom,
it was when you talked about raising teenagers or children.
yeah, yeah,
Right?
you have to. You know what I
do.
mean? Like you have to have that time. Like Kendra, I know Kendra will take time. She's like, listen, I'm chilling. I'm watching movies right now. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's good.
I'm
That's
watching
like
movies,
my
girl.
workout.
I got to text you later.
Yeah.
That's like
I
my
think that's
workout.
my thing is I will say no. I'm the type I will not answer the phone.
good.
Right.
You know, like I don't feel obligated to
Right.
do anything when it comes to, you know, pleasing other people. Because I recognize that if I don't take the time that I need to reset, then, you know, I'm not good. And if I'm not good for me, I'm not going to be good for you.
Right,
You know,
exactly.
so yeah, I'm quick to like, well, you know, God made voicemail for a reason. So
Exactly.
I'll check it later.
Think about
But,
it. Our parents, our moms people didn't have all access to them all the time.
Yes,
Like right
yeah.
now, there's all
Yeah.
access. If I have not been on my phone because we've been on this podcast, I bet you I have about 50 messages right now.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
people, that energy of having 100 people come at you all at once, they didn't
And
have
people
that.
expecting you to like respond right away.
Right.
You know,
I
that's
remember just like chilling on my aunt's porch, drinking Kool-Aid out of a Miracle Whip jar and watching the cars go by and being cool with that. And
Right,
if you call, if the phone rang, the phone was so far down the hallway, she'd be like, child, we gonna get that later.
I know that's right.
Well,
But
here's
now
the
we're
tip.
like, hurry up. you know.
Here's
Yep.
a tip for you guys. Okay. So I've been doing this and it really does help. And Kendra, this might make you make your list at night.
Okay, I'm here for
Put
it.
your cell phone in another room at night.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
don't pick it up first thing in the morning. Make your bed first and then maybe make your coffee and then get your cell phone, because then everyone's not consuming you. You have time
Yeah.
to do a couple things like write in your books or whatever you want to do, and you don't waste your time at night on the phone. Like I found that my husband and I, we would get in bed and we'd both be on our phones. I'd be like, wait a minute, this is not working.
Yeah.
So we started doing that. We started putting our cell phones in the bathroom, and it's been really nice, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, that tip I'm going to give that a try, because I am bad with my cell phone in the bed late at night. Yeah, scrolling and, you know, whatever. And then, like you said, first thing in the morning, because in my mind, again, I'm like, even though I don't have a mental checklist, I'm like, okay, I need to reply to this. I need to post this information. I need to do all this stuff. And then I'm going to go out and do my walk. And then I'm going to come back and get ready for work. So I built it into my schedule to, like, I programmed myself to respond or do my social media stuff first thing in the morning.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's not, you know, and that's not good, because one of the things that they say is when you pick up your phone first things in the morning, what happens to us physically is that our brains are like, it's go time. As soon as we start,
that's what I'm saying.
and that's all, and then we're there the rest of the day. So
it owns you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So do that. Like I put my phone in the bathroom. I let it charge in there all night. Then I get up. I make my bed first thing in the morning. It's just been my routine my whole life. And then I just brush my teeth. I high five myself in the mirror, laugh if you must. And then I grab my phone and get my coffee. So,
I'm gonna have to put it in. I need to get like a back in the day clock with the radio, because I sleep to music. So that's why I have my phone, because I'm like a music person all day. And then when I go to bed, so I need like a back in the day.
Get a Google Home. Get a Google.
Yeah, Google Home.
I have Alexa. I have Alexa up in there.
Well, what I do with Google is I just listen to ocean sounds to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Well, you're by the beach, Colette.
I am.
Where are you rubbing it in? Thanks.
I know,
right? Next.
I'm waiting for you to come see me, ladies.
I know.
She's like, I listen to the ocean and talk to the dolphins.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I have to put my phone in the car. The bathroom's not going to work. That's too close.
You got to put it downstairs then, so you won't.
Yeah. I go through phases.
Yeah. I think
I go through phases.
Just own us. I mean, when we first got them, I was like, oh, that will never happen to me. Well, that happens to everybody. I'm sorry. We just, it's like a mini computer. You can do everything on it. So we just start falling in these routines. But since we've been doing that, that has really, really helped.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really tough.
I sleep better.
Yeah. And you guys probably connect better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I used to wake up, do meditation, and then gradually go to my phone. But then I got really super busy, and then it kind of faded away. So then I go to the phone, and then I do meditation, which I probably needed like afterwards.
Yeah.
And then poor Kendra, you guys, I'll message you 2 a.m. So when you wake up, you already got messages from me.
Girl, you are hyped at like 6 o'clock. Like 6 o'clock, like Izzy's like, ding, 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 ding. I'm like, I am just wiping the sleep out of my eyes.
Good morning.
I know, good morning. I'm like, good Lord. But
everybody says it. It's so funny.
So we're like 20 minutes, almost 20 minutes over. So
oh my goodness.
I
think that was actually the last
I think we made all the questions, right?
Yeah. So does anyone want to leave anything with the community that you think that they may need when it comes to sacrifices and success?
Well, I'll go back to say what I said earlier. If you don't give up something, you're not going to gain, right? So you can't get stuff with a clenched fist. Your hand has to be open, which means you got to let stuff go. So, and it's scary. It can be uncomfortable. You don't have to do anything huge at first. Take baby steps, but at the end of the day, it can be done. So
Yeah. There's your buddy.
Mine would be that,
I know.
again, success and sacrifice go hand in hand.
Right.
You'll have failures, but learn from them and continue to move forward. And like Kendra said, start small. A lot of good things, big successes come from small starts.
Yes,
And believe in yourself. You can do anything, and it will take sacrifice, but the sacrifice is just the beginning.
Right.
And it'll be so worth it when you get there.
Yeah, that's good. I would leave to be your authentic self. The quicker you're your authentic self, the quicker you'll get to being successful in the things that you are called to do. I think that's the biggest thing. I think
that's true. Let people see you. Be transparent.
Right. And not be afraid to do it. I think earlier in life, I wasn't my authentic self. I was everything that everybody else wanted me to be.
Right.
And now I'm me. And this is like the happiest I've ever been. So just be your authentic self, and success will follow. That's
so don't sacrifice yourself.
Right.
Sacrifice things that don't matter. Like buying a smaller house, not buying shoes from a designer store.
Right.
Never sacrifice yourself. That's great advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we love you guys. We love you, love you, love you. As always, if you need to connect with us, we are on LinkedIn at Feel Good Talk, Facebook at Feel Good Talk, YouTube at FGT Mind, Body, Soul, and Business. Instagram is at feel.goodtalk. And you can email us at feelgoodtalk113@gmail.com. We also have a website. It's www.feelgoodtalk.net. We are looking for sponsors. Feel free to reach out to any one of us, including Chuck. Definitely looking for sponsorship. And if you have a topic you'd like to talk about or like to appear on our show, be sure to connect with us. Our live shows are, Feel Good Talk, Love 101 on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. We also have Let's Talk About It, which is us, on Thursdays at 7 p.m. We got Williams World at Friday at 6 p.m. Jamila J's Girl Talk on Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 p.m. PST. And then we have Gimme Some Sugar. I like saying that.
Yeah.
With Steven on Sunday. Let me tell you a little something. Every time I see Steven's show on Sunday, I always end up buying me a piece of cake from somewhere or have one prepared because I want to have it. We also have Mindfulness Mondays. That's me with Izzy Meditates, Monday at 9 a.m. We have Words from the Heart with Shayna Gordine on Tuesdays at 9 a.m. More Life with Miss Kendra Moore with Essential Oils on Wednesday at 9 a.m. And then my daughter Cassandra comes on Cassandra's Corner Saturday at 10 a.m. So we have something for everyone, every day of the week, every walk of life. And it's all family friendly. So be sure to tune in. We love you guys. And we're going to make our special hearts.
Thank you guys for tuning in.
My computer didn't work, but my
Okay. We'll fill in the other